Harry, we knew, has been destroyed by himself and by Meghan. And if he comes over and does any sort of give him a job to do, well, it's an absurd thing to say, because he will, demand money for it. Meghan will demand money for it, but she will take over. Meghan wants to be queen. You can't actually have her as standing there as a second person. So all that is nonsensical, actually, very ridiculous, and she should know better. She's a marvelous journalist, but this is incredibly spiteful and ridiculous. She said one of the things that at the cenotaph, the king looked old and bleak without the usual supportive presence of Camilla. I imagine that he was thinking of his parents, because he remembers that being a very important day for those two. And I think that he feels for all the people who have died.
For someone who claimed to escape the constraints of monarchy, Meghan Markle seems strangely fixated on it. You'd think after breaking free from the so-called prison of royal life, she'd be content soaking up the California sun, sipping green juice, and enjoying her self-imposed exile. But no. According to Angela Levin, Meghan still sees herself as a royal player, a statement that would be laughable if it weren't so eerily accurate. Meghan wants to be queen. Let that sink in for a moment. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? A woman who walked away from the royal family, waged war against it in the press, and built an entire brand around victimhood, still wants a seat at the table? But if you follow Meghan's carefully orchestrated moves, it actually makes perfect sense. Think about their recent visit to Nigeria, not an official engagement, but one that was choreographed to look like one. Meeting dignitaries, being escorted like visiting royalty, delivering speeches about connection to the Commonwealth. It wasn't just a visit, it was a statement. Meghan and Harry weren't just tourists. They were auditioning for a role that doesn't exist. And here's the problem: there's already a future king. There's already a queen. There is no alternate royal court, no California monarchy, no parallel version of Buckingham Palace headquartered in Montecito. Yet Meghan continues to position herself as a global royal figure, leveraging charity events, Commonwealth connections, and high-profile interviews to stay relevant. It's the same playbook she's been using for years: drip-feed influence, insert herself into global narratives, and ensure her name remains tied to the institution she allegedly despises. And then there's Harry, the once spare prince who is now just spare. Levin suggests that if he were ever asked to perform royal duties, he and Meghan would demand to be paid for it. That's not service. That's a business deal. And honestly, why wouldn't they? This is their entire model now. Netflix? Cash for royal grievances. Spotify? Cash for royal grievances. Spare? Cash for royal grievances. If there's no paycheck attached, they aren't interested. But here's the irony. If they had actually stayed in the firm, they would have had far more financial security than their crumbling Hollywood empire is giving them now. Meanwhile, the real monarchy moves on. While Meghan and Harry are out there playing make-believe diplomats, King Charles and Prince William are actually leading. Levin noted that King Charles looked somber and reflective at the cenotaph, and why wouldn't he? The man is navigating a nation in transition, a family in turmoil, and his own health battles. And what are Harry and Meghan doing? Dressing up their private trips as state visits, selling more tell-all stories, desperately clinging to relevance. The truth is, real queens don't need to declare themselves. They lead, they serve, they endure. Kate Middleton isn't out there demanding attention, she's earning respect. Meghan, on the other hand, she doesn't want responsibility, she wants a crown without the weight. And that's why, no matter how many staged trips, veiled jabs, or dramatic interviews she gives, she will never be queen. Meghan Markle once claimed she never Googled Prince Harry before they met. But looking at her relentless royal obsession, I think she's been Googling Queen Meghan for years.